going on, everybody? Welcome back. Dudes Who Bet Daily. Another week here, June 14, 2023. And I guess we got to start off by congratulating some people here. And no, I'm not talking about everyone with Reds tickets to win the NL Central at 30 or 40 to 1. I'm talking about the Nuggets and the Knights here. Champions, we've not talked about this yet. Both of them dominant 5-1 wins in the series. The Knights just overwhelmed the Panthers last night, winning 9-3. I wasn't sure who was going to win the Conn Smythe as that game went along. When it was like 6-1, I thought Aiden Hill had a legit shot at winning the Conn Smythe. I think those last two goals hurt him. Stone gets the hat trick. I'm like, oh, crap, maybe it's going to be Stone. But it's Marchessault who cashes that ticket, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Marchessault. What did you think of the Stanley Cup Finals here?
Well, the finals weren't that great, right? Because they were just such a dominating, effort by the Knights, and give all the credit to the Golden Knights. A fantastic, my goodness, what a run they had, and just dominate the Florida Panthers. But as a finals, it was kind of a little bit anticlimactic. You knew after game one or game two, Florida's in big, big trouble. So, but all credit. I was happy to see. Our boy Pietrangelo and Barbashev, our two guys from St. Louis, get a second Stanley Cup. That was nice. And, it's kind of cool, man. Hockey in Vegas, a lot of people were skeptical. Year one, it took off because they were so good, and it really hadn't stopped. And that was quite a scene last night in Las Vegas. So it was kind of fun to watch them win the Cup last night.
Going to be cool to see the parade go down the strip. I know they had one for the WNBA. It's going to be a little bit bigger. There's a lot of Knights fans there in Vegas that I know are very excited about this hockey team. I was watching it from a casino because I was playing poker yesterday, and Jonathan Quick hosted the Cup, and I was like, holy shit, Jonathan Quick won another Cup too. Like, totally forgot that he was on that team and won a Cup. So it's fun to see so many players get a second, third, fourth, whatever it is for them. Really happy for Barbashev specifically, who I felt kind of got a raw deal in St. Louis. He was a very influential player through the Cup run, and it was nice to see him make his mark on that series as well. So congratulations to the Knights. Let's move over to the Nuggets, who are your 5-1 favorites to win the Cup or win the the NBA Finals next year already. It's a team that's going to return a lot of players. They're going to be real good again next year.
Yeah, and again, this was another anticlimactic finals, right? Because one team was just so dominant, and if you look at it, the Nuggets win in 5, but it's the closest to a 5-game sweep. I would like to call it. Game 2, they just kind of bought into what we all were saying. They didn't play their best game. They weren't really motivated, and they got beat. But when they played and they were really focused, it really wasn't all that competitive. And I thought Spoelstra said something really interesting with his Miami team. He said, hey, our best defensive efforts of the entire season came in game 4 and game 5, and we still couldn't beat them. And that's a good sign that they were just the best team. So listen, they've got a freak of a player in the Joker, and they've got really good supporting cast around them. They should be the favorites next year. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to do it, but again, another just dominant performance by a team that's just much, much better.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they retool this team. They're going to get their big 4 back. That's for sure. It's going to be Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. They're going to have Jokic. They're going to have Murray. And you look at someone like Bruce Brown, who took, I think it was $4.5 million, $6.5 million, something like that this year to play on that team. He's going to get the bag this summer. And I think there's going to be a lot of players that look at this and say, I kind of want to play with Jokic because every shot I get is a wide open shot. And every cut I make, I get the ball in a layup. Like, if you're an NBA player who is trying to resurrect your career, or someone who is like, hey, I need to get a little better offensive stats, it makes a ton of sense to go play with Jokic. I mean, he's going to make you better.
Never seen a big guy quite like him that can pass. And I'm sure people are going to say, oh, this guy. But of our era, he is the best, right? I mean, they can get that ball to him anywhere on the court. And like you said, whether it's a backdoor cut, whether it's a guy rolling off a double, it's something. And they're just wide open because you know why they're wide open, Somich? If you don't guard him, he's going to score 100 on you because he can do everything. So he's a very unique player. It will take some time for teams to adjust and kind of figure out just how to stop him if there is a way, because right now there just doesn't seem to be a way. As long as he plays well, that team's going to score. And like I said, Miami threw the kitchen sink at him, and they could not get a big stop when they needed it.
No, they couldn't. It's fun to watch a player who could score at will when he's singled, but isn't necessarily looking to score every time he has the ball. He is very much, he doesn't pass the ball late, He passes it on time, but he also will score when he needs to. It's a very unique setup for that team in Denver. We'll see what they're able to do. Going to be a fun offseason in the NBA, which kind of has become, I mean, the NBA and NFL offseason have become events in and of themselves. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here on July 1st when we kick off free agency. Now we're into the official dog days of summer, Aaron. There's going to be lots of baseball talk on this show now, which I know you and I are personally excited for based on the way baseball's gone for the last month. Let's jump right into it with one of the two phenomenal pitching matchups today. The Marlins taking on the Mariners up in Seattle. This is a good one. We've got Perez going for the Marlins. He's 3-1 with a 2.17 ERA. Castillo going for the Mariners, 4-4, but with just a 2.70 ERA. Mariners minus 190, total sitting at 7. Did you do anything with this one?
Yeah, this is actually one of the games I'm going to bet today, and I'm going to take the Marlins again. Look, I've kind of got burnt with the Marlins the last 2 nights up here in Seattle. They have not played well at all. The games have not been competitive. Perez, we've talked about him a lot on this show. We really like him. We think he might be the best pitcher on that staff right now. And that's probably not completely fair to Alcantara or whatever, however you say his name. But Perez is just, he's a young and up-and-coming guy that's pitching extremely well. I think they're going to get it done. I think they needed to get one of their big guns out there to kind of stop this slide. I think they're going to win a close game tonight. The price was too much for me to stay away. So I took the Marlins again tonight. Couple of rough outings up there in Seattle. I think they're going to play better tonight.
We'll both be barking on this one. I thought the price was wrong. Minus 190 just seems excessive for a total of 7. I mean, we talk a lot about like large point spreads and small total games in the NFL. When you have this big of a total, or this small of a total sitting on 7, you're getting plus 165, plus 170 the other way with a very good pitcher on the mound. Yeah, I'll take my shot here with the Marlins. So I bet them at plus 170 this morning. I think it's plus 165 right now. I think the Marlins are a good play here. This should be like what, plus 135? Plus somewhere in that range?
That's kind of what I thought, and that's what it's been the first 2 games. They've been around plus 125, plus 135, which I thought was right. And now you get their best pitcher of the 3 games that they're going to play up here, and you're getting a huge number. I think you're getting this number because of those first 2 games and how non-competitive they've been. But I always try to tell people, baseball, what you saw last night, get it out of your mind. It's a whole new thing tonight, and you could lose 10-0 and then come back and win 10-0. That's baseball in a nutshell.
Yep. And so we'll see if Perez can twirl on the mound. 20-year-old from the Dominican Republic. If you haven't seen him pitch, I'd recommend taking a watch because he is a fun guy. This is one of the late games on the card. Let's jump over to the other marquee matchup here, the Mets and the Yankees. The Yankees going for the sweep here against the Mets, which really not that shocking since I bet him the last 2 days. Cole taking on Verlander here. We haven't seen the same Verlander, but he seems to be starting to round into form. Rough outing last time. Basically a pick 'em here. You can get the Yankees plus 100 some places. You can get the Mets plus 100 some other places. So shop this game around depending on which side you like. Aaron, what are you doing here? Mets, Yankees, total sitting at 7.5.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, man. Last night was a roller coaster. I bet the Yankees last night, and gosh, they looked like they were done, and they got way behind, and that offense had been really struggling. So you're like, oh boy, this isn't good because they can't score enough runs. Well, they exploded. They got the runs back, and they were able to hold on, pitch out of a bases-loaded jam in the 8th, and they mowed them down in the 9th. So the Yankees, squeezed by. I'm on the Yankees again. I didn't bet them tonight, though. I did pick them, not going to bet them. I do think they're going to beat the Mets again tonight. I like the pitching matchup. I think it favors the Yankees. But, boy, their lineup, when Judge isn't in there and they're not quite as, stout as they were last year, it's kind of a shaky lineup. So that's why I kind of stayed away tonight. But I do think if you made me pick, if I did pick, you'd have to make me. I would pick the Yankees.
I agree, and I bet them. I bet the Yankees again today. I thought that I got plus 100. I thought that price was just not right. Because even let's take Judge out of the lineup. What lineup is better?
Yeah. No, it's the Yankees. Yeah.
It's the Yankees, right? And I think better pitcher, better lineup. Let's roll. Let's try and win this or sweep the series here for the Yankees. And Papa Dude agrees. He's jumping in the best bet here at the Yankees, minus 105. I can hear him now. Garrett Cole is the better pitcher, and the Yankees lineup's better. So I'm going to go ahead and bet the Yankees. He probably would say something self-serving first, but anyway.
he would definitely take a shot at the Mets. He would say, the Mets are awful. And Buck Showalter's terrible, I would say.
It's the worst team in you. They can't hit the ball. I'm not going to hit Cole. All right, let's head over to one more game. Of course it's the Reds and the Royals, right? Why wouldn't it be? Royals minus 105. Wwhy are the Royals favored again today? This is 3 days in a row they're favored over the Reds. Total sitting at 9.5. The Reds have won the last 2 days. Not sure if you knew that. And they are looking for the sweep. Only 2.5 games back in the NL Central. We will have the Reds watch constantly on this show if this continues to keep up here. It was nice to see the Brewers go down yesterday. The Pirates lose to the Cubs, and the Reds just keep on rolling. Can they sweep the Royals, Aaron?
I bet them the first 2 nights. I will bet them again. I'll bet them again here in Kansas City. I was on Sharp Money the other day, and we were talking about the Reds. And I had told Patrick, I said, I woke up the first game of this Kansas City series, and I thought, the train's over because the Reds will be heavy favorites. They have not been. They have been the underdogs in 2 out of 3 games. In the game they were favored, they were like minus, I think last night was minus 115 or minus 110 whenever you bet them. I don't get it. They've taken so long to adjust to this Reds team, and they still haven't. They were the underdogs all 3 games in St. Louis, the series before this. Just bet them. And hey, you know what happens? What if they lose tonight, Somich? Oh, well, we've bet them 100 times as a dog. Okay, we lost this one. They'll be in Houston. We'll get it back. You know what I mean? So take the Reds again today. Listen, they've had their 3 worst pitchers on the mound here, and they've still been able to win 2 out of the 3. And I think this one, as long as he doesn't blow up like he did in St. Louis, I think they win again. So give me the Reds.
Yeah, I took the Reds plus 120 to win the series against the Royals. I don't know what the hell that was. Like, that seemed like free money. They've won the series now, 2-0. I'm betting the Reds again today. I was back and forth between first 5 and full game. I ended up betting full game versus first 5. Lively not going to go very deep. He usually goes 5 or 6 innings. So that was my reasoning behind the first 5 versus full game. But this Reds team, there's just juice around them right now, right? And so they could lose the first 5 and win this game. They're one of those teams that, even though their bullpen isn't phenomenal, they're good. And this is a bullpen that I think actually might get better. The craziest thing is their number 1 pitcher is not in right now. He's still on the DL. When they get him in, all of a sudden, some of these guys who are back-end starters who probably be better 1 or 2 innings out of the bullpen are going to go to the bullpen. They still have 2 guys left to call up from the minors, 1 pitcher, 1 hitter. Like, there's more coming here. And to me, the crazy part is you now have them at as low as 6-1, 5-1 to win the Central. And yet the Royals are still favored over them. And the Royals are the worst team in baseball right now. Since the A's have decided that they are one of the best teams in baseball. I think they ripped off, 6 straight, 7 straight, something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, the Royals are that bad. And yet you're still catching somewhere around an even money price on the Reds today with Lively. So, yeah, I'm with you. Give me the Reds. Let's see if we can sweep this puppy and cash all 3 games along the way here, because this has just been phenomenal.
They found ways. They have not really played that well. They played really good in St. Louis. They haven't played that well in Kansas City, but they found ways to win. And it's like, that's what an actual good team does. They can win games when they're not at their best, and they've done it two nights in a row. And I keep thinking, what if they show up tonight and play as well as they're capable? Well, hell, that may not be a game, So, and listen, Lively, he's not awful. He just got rocked in the last game. So we'll see. I think the Reds are the right side, win or lose. You got him as an underdog. You got to play him.
Yeah, I am a little frustrated with them because I had the over 9.5 yesterday, and it was 5-2 after 2. Mm-hmm. And that game stalled on 9 for 5 straight innings.
Yep.
A little frustrating that one didn't go over. Not going to run the over back tonight. You've got Lynch on the mound for Kansas City, 0-2 with a 4.41 ERA. So not too much edge there. And I got to talk about this. Like Lori mentioning the stolen base prop on De La Cruz. If you haven't watched Ellie De La Cruz play, he is fun to watch to play. This is a 21-year-old, I believe it is, 20-year-old who came up 2 weeks ago. He is going to be a star. The exit velocity on his bat is phenomenal. His speed is unreal. He is one of those guys who's going to rip off a ton of bases. So keep an eye on Ellie De La Cruz there as well. All right. Let's jump into the race. I'm going to call it the race of the day. But, I mean, it was tough sledding today, Aaron. I took a while to pick which one to go with. We're going to head to Horseshoe race number 8. It was supposed to be a mile on the turf. We're now a mile on the dirt, which is not a bad thing. I'm not sure if any of these horses actually wanted to go on the turf, but I can tell you none of them want to go a mile. So that is definitely going to be a problem in this spot. Your favorite is the 7 horse who on the morning line here is 9-5, Wildcat Justice. Probably going to get bet down off of that number. Longest race of his career, Aaron, 6 furlongs. Probably not betting that horse. What do you got here?
Well, the problem is they all, like you said, there's just none of them that you could really think, hey, they want this distance, and they're Indiana bred, so that gets you a little bit worried as well. I kind of wanted somebody to come off the pace, right? And
But
even let's say the 7 wants a mile and 70. Well, the 4 is going to be up there with the 7. The 8's going to be up there. The 13's got a little bit of speed. I went with the 11, all about the image. I thought this horse, I don't know if this filly wants a distance either, has been at a mile and hasn't run all that well, but I think gets the setup today. I think will come running. She came running last time out and only lost by 3/4 of a length. We'll see. I'm going to take a swing with the 11 here, see if we can get lucky, see if the pace melts down and she comes running late and gets them.
Yeah, I was between 3 horses, and the 11 was one of them. I thought the 11 was a logical horse to take a little bit of a price. This is one where I'm probably going to wait till the one of the things about Indiana Grand, especially off the turf with these scratches, these odds are going to adjust wildly, right? And so I like a couple horses that are double-digit odds. I'm going to see if I actually get double-digit odds on either of them. If I do, I'll probably bet them to win. The 11 was definitely a horse that I looked at a long time because I agree with you. I think the setup is for someone to come off the pace. I'm just not sure who that someone is because none of these horses are very good at closing, especially in any of their mile efforts. I boiled it down to the 1 Sky's Image and the 2 Passion for Justice. And I landed on the 2. Passion for Justice, 20-1 on the morning line. Garcia comes back, runs his horse at 6 furlongs. We're now stretching out to a mile. Wasn't a great 6 furlong effort, but he's 37% second time off a 180-day layoff, $2.82 ROI. This horse broke its maiden at a mile after running at a mile over a good track and just missed by a length, and then went into a stakes race at a mile and 70 yards. And it looks like the horse got walloped, but the top 2 horses were 10 lengths clear of everybody. So I'm not as worried about the 19.5 there, the stakes race. Now you're getting second off the layoff, second out as a 3-year-old. I'm going to take a shot there, but I do think the 1 is the other horse that has a big chance at closing because of those last 2 starts, both the 6 furlongs. So you're going 2 sprints to a route, which is something I like. And you have a horse that at least had shown something going a mile. I mean, pretty much the entire previous year at 3 was running in mile races and was competitive there. So to me, it was the 1 or the 2. I landed on the 2 simply because the second off the layoff thing, but I'll wait to see the board. But I think they're both playable if you get 10-1 or better on either.
We see this race exactly the same. I used the 1 and I used the 2 in the pick 5. Pick 5. Look, I think that the 2, you're probably going to get more of the number you want to get because that form is pretty darn muddled. We've lost by double-digit lengths 4 straight times, right? So I think you'll get it. I think the price on the 1 is going significantly down. I would not be surprised if the 1 is a second choice. The form is just a little bit better. People look at it and go, well, lost by 2, lost by 4, lost by a neck at this distance last time she was there. This is my horse, right? So I think that horse will be the second choice when it's all said and done. But very logical horse. And the 1 and the 11, that's who I was between on top. And for similar reasons, they're going to kind of come from out of it. And I think the setup's there. But I use your 2 as well. It's just going to be, can we finally see this horse back to some decent form? This filly's got races, 4 or 5 back that can win. We just haven't seen the best of her. But listen, if we're going to, it's going to be second off the layoff. So I like the pick.
Yeah, I'm hoping the stretch, like the 2 probably has the best races at a mile. Like probably, maybe it's the 1, but like the mile distance here on dirt is a funky distance for these horses. And I don't know what I would have done if this race was on turf. The 7 looks like a standout if it was on turf. But because we're not on turf, all of a sudden this race goes haywire.
I thought the 7 had the breeding to go to the turf and be okay. Yeah. But like I said, now that it's off, I mean, the horses ran on dirt, but it's like, I don't know. I was kind of excited to see that horse on the turf. I don't know. Anytime you get these Indiana breds, it either, to me up here, it goes big favorite or funky long shot in a lot of these state bred races.
It's going to be an interesting late pick 5 because you have a couple races off the turf, which always create handicapping chaos because people can't rely on the morning line. And that kind of makes it tough for people, especially to track where the morning line adjusts. So might be an interesting day to play the Horseshoe Indiana pick 5 there, just 10% takeout. So player, or 11.9% takeout. So player friendly there. All right, let's go to the best bets. We already mentioned Papa Dudes. He's going to take the Yankees today, -105. I'm going to go to an early game here. I'm going to take two offenses that both can't hit righties, and I'm going to play the under first 5 here with the Brewers and the Twins. This game's first pitch is at 10:10 Pacific, so we'll know early how this one goes. Rea on the mound for Milwaukee, Ober on the mound for Minnesota. Look, Minnesota's offense is just not good, and the Ober has been very good on the pitch, on the bump for the Twins here. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of runs early in this game. The early start, I think, is also a positive for the under here because you have two pitchers that are pretty well rested versus teams that played last night. So they got a quick turnaround to play a day game here. So give me the under in the Brewers Twins game, first 5, under 4.5.
I'm so mad at the Brewers. It's unbelievable. So listen to this. Last night, everything was going so well. I had the Rockies at plus 200. They win in extra innings. I had the Yankees. I had Cincinnati. I had the Angels who won at plus money in Texas. And then I had the Brewers who were up 5-3 as a plus money dog going into the ninth. They didn't get one out, Somich. Not one. They didn't even get an out. So the Twins end up winning the game.
They didn't even cover the run line. They lost.
No, they lost. Yeah, they gave the 2-run homer and they lost 7-5. I was like, I knew all these games that I just mentioned were 1-run games throughout most of it. So I knew we were going to blow one at some point. But the Brewers, they seem like one of the logical ones because they were up 2. Yeah, didn't even get it out in the ninth. So I hope the Twins are ahead 4-0 at the end of 5 to cash your bet there, Somich.
There we go. I would take 4-0 after 5. That'd be just fine with me. Yesterday was one of those days where you it was a good day. I went 4-2, so happy about that. Yep. But man, variance was on my side yesterday. You mentioned the Reds winning, bases loaded, 1 out in the 7th inning. They get out of it with no runs. Yep. The Yankees winning, bases loaded, 1 out in the 8th. They get out of it, no runs. Like that. Those are very fortunate to hold those 1-run games and be able to get there. That's part of the reason why I think you have to bet volume in baseball is that you find the right price. You bet 5 or 6 games. You're betting 1% of your bankroll. You're never going with these big. Like I think I mentioned this on Sharp Money. I bet between 1 and 5% of my bankroll in every game.
Yeah,
I have not gone over I've gone over 2% 3 times in 4 weeks in a baseball game because that's how small I think the edges are in here. So it's more of a volume playing good edges versus hammering 1 or 2 games, which is kind of more of the NFL style.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, and that's why you hear us say I went 4-2 as well, and it's because we're not playing maybe 6-8 NFL games on a Sunday, but in baseball you certainly are. And like I said, a lot of coin flips, and you just try to take advantage of those plus money prices. And like I said, I can't get too mad because I did get very lucky in some other games where you get unlucky here. But anyway,
the Rockies was extra innings as well, but that was a nice cash there. I pissed at myself that I did not bet the Rockies the last 2 days because I was like this close both days, and I didn't fire on them.
So the first night I didn't, and I should have, and I was the same way. And I thought, well, since I had a bunch last night, I said, I'm going to throw them in there because, cash them at plus 200. I mean, you can do the math. You don't have to win. If you're playing 6 games and you cash one at plus 200 to kick it off, the pressure's really off. You can just only have to hit 1 or 2 more and you're going to have a good night. So yeah, listen, it's not, I love the Rockies. It's a fade the Red Sox. This Red Sox team's not good and they're overvalued. Yeah. Every night.
Yep. That's the interesting part is it's the overvalued, undervalued, right? Right now, the Reds are undervalued. The Red Sox are overvalued. That's a team you bet for, team you bet against. Talk about one of the teams who I think is still undervalued somehow. The team that you're taking in the first 5 here.
Yeah, and listen, they're not a bad price tonight. So the Diamondbacks are taking on the Phillies. For full game, they're minus 135. So if you don't want to jack with the first 5 inning stuff, well, there's still a playable price, but not for me. I like to play plus monies, or if I'm playing a minus, I don't really want to do minus 135. So I went with the Diamondbacks minus a half run first 5 plus 115 today. Look, they've given up a lot of runs the last 2 games, and it's nice to have a stopper, right? And so Merrill Kelly gets on the mound tonight. They need a guy to go 6, 7, 8 innings and kind of rest that bullpen that's been overused. Kelly can do it. Kelly will come in and pitch really well today. He's 8-3, the 2.92 ERA. He's been a very, very consistent pitcher for a lot of years, and the Diamondbacks are sure happy to have him on the mound tonight. On the other side of it, Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. Look, his numbers aren't great, but he isn't pitching horrible in his last few games. And actually, I wouldn't mind betting Ranger Suarez in the right spot. This is not the right spot though, with Kelly on the mound. So I'm taking the Diamondbacks minus that half run first 5, hoping the Diamondbacks get a couple of runs and then Kelly can shut the door on this Phillies offense. So at plus 115, I thought this was a pretty good one tonight. So we'll try to kick it off with this one.
5, 10, 6, 11, 5, 7, 9, 3. That's the number of runs the Diamondbacks have put up in the recent stretch of their games. They like to hit the baseball, folks. And when you're playing these type of bets, you want teams that can put runs up. The Diamondbacks have consistently done that. And that's why I think they're one of the teams that's undervalued. When you score that many runs, when you're averaging 5+ runs a game, it is very hard to beat you. And that's one of the reasons why they are currently first in the NL West and 41-26. I like a lot of people do not believe in the Diamondbacks in a way, but if they keep hitting the ball like this, they are legit. As we got a chipmunk in my yard right now. They are a legit team. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it going. I like the D-backs bet today. Hopefully we can get that one home as well. Anything else you want to talk about today before we move along, Aaron?
One last thing. You mentioned the A's. So I watched the A's the last 3 innings of the game last night because I thought, I just can't believe they're going to beat Tampa again, right? That was one of the coolest things I've ever watched. There were a ton of people at the game. And I think it's because they know that this is it. They're leaving after this year. Vegas approved the stadium. It was wild. That atmosphere was wild. And that team was jacked up. They were excited. So good job for the A's. We laughed at them 7 in a row. Salute the A's. Great job.
Yeah, it's the run they're on is phenomenal. I mean, we joked about how they were the worst team to bet on the money line. Well, this run of 7 in a row has helped that quite a bit because you're getting almost plus 200 every single night on them. Not trying to fade the A's right now. Trying to fade the Royals right now, but not the A's. So that's you gotta float around, move like a butterfly, sting like a bee, I believe it is, right? So you got to be keeping light on your toes when you're looking for teams to fade, and the A's are not the team to fade right now. We'll see what happens here. All right, let's jump into the best bets of the day. Take off to close out the Wednesday for Dudes Who Bet Daily. Give me biscuits.
You didn't update it.
Oh, geez.
You want me to tell a story while you update it?
Sure. God. You updated the record and everything, just forgot to put in the picks.
Oh, I forgot to put in the picks. Well,
yeah, go
ahead. Yeah. So they are doing a reverse boycott, Jordan. And so they've got like green shirts on that says sell. Almost everybody in the stadium has one. And like I said, if you haven't, and again, you probably have to have nothing to do, but if you have nothing to do and you want to see something kind of cool, it is kind of a cool atmosphere because there was like 10 people at these A's games, and now there was a bunch of people and they were loud and the crowd was into it. It was a factor and they were having fun. Even their announcers were like, wow, this is really kind of cool. So yeah.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you get like fans in the stadium, right? I mean, that was the biggest knockout on them forever, is that they were like getting like 200 people in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And so if you put a good product on the field and you put a good team there, they can get the love. It's just like, it's hard to do it.
It's weird. These places are weird. Like St. Louis football, right? Like nobody went to those Rams games once they started, not winning the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl. And then they leave and now like they have this XFL team and everybody goes to the games. It's like, why didn't you like rabidly support the NFL team that you had? Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, it's weird.
Some of it's money. I mean, like because like Kroenke, who owned the Rams at the time, wanted them to build an all-new stadium with publicly funded money. And I think when they sucked and that came up, that was a big problem. And that's the same problem with the A's, right?
Right.
They can't get a publicly funded stadium. And not that I'm advocating for publicly funded stadiums for billionaires who are making a shitload of money off these franchises. Right. But that was a big problem in St. Louis. That's a big problem in Oakland. That's one of the big reasons in Vegas they're going there is because they just did approve a publicly funded stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're right.
All right, best bets of the day. Look at that. It's all updated and correct. Somich taking the Brewers Twins under 4.5 first 5. Aaron taking the D-backs minus a half run first 5 plus 115. Papa Dude on the Yankees minus 105. Up $487 for the year. It's nice to see that in a plus because it was not there for a while. So nice to make a little comeback there. Thanks for joining us today on Dudes Who Bet Daily. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. More best bets around the sports and horse racing world. Good luck with all your bets. We'll see you tomorrow.